On today's show, OMax-Prosper just wants to do one thing in the NBA. And I'm ready to run through a wall for him on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
Welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. The best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day on any podcast platform. Like the video on YouTube, comment anything below, subscribe. On our way, the road to 50K subscribers starts with you. Let us know in the comment section, what do you think about OMax-Prosper? What do you think is his ceiling next season? What do you think he is capable of? I'm curious what everybody thinks about that. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sport stops sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. Something for everyone, every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel to get started. Today, talking about Summer League. Mavs had their first Summer League practice. And so, couple of things about some of the guys that we saw today. So we'll talk about that. Talk about Melvin Ajinca, AJ Lawson. Jared Dudley had some great things to say about OMax. We'll hear a clip from Dudley. But I want to start here. OMax-Prosper is the player to watch for Mavs Summer League. If you're paying attention to Mavs Summer League, it's coming up. It's coming up real quick. Mavs' first game is the 13th. That is Saturday. Mavs will play a game on Saturday. So if you are missing Mavs basketball, if you're having withdrawals, it's coming up on Saturday. They play another game on Monday, and they'll play 4 games, maybe play a 5th one on the 20th or the 21st, Saturday or Sunday for that next weekend. It's coming up. And the roster, if you start looking up and down it, there's a couple of guys that will recognize their names. Brandon Williams on the team last year. Alex Fudge on the team last year. A couple of guys here and there. AJ Lawson on the Mavs, on the actual Mavs roster. Melvin Ajinca that the Mavs just drafted with the 55th pick, or the 51st pick. They traded up. And then there's OMax-Prosper. And OMax is the player that I think has the highest ceiling of any of the players that are on the Mavs Summer League team. He has the biggest opportunity to actually play next season for the Mavericks. And I think that OMax-Prosper has an opportunity to actually play for the Mavericks next season. He's 100% healthy. He's back. Remember, he had that ankle injury that he suffered during the playoffs last year, and he was listed on the injury report next to Luka the whole time. And it was kind of funny that we were seeing like Luka's out, and also OMax. He wasn't going to play anyway, but he's also injured. He's back, 100%. Dudley, Coach, Jared Dudley's going to be the head coach of the Mavs Summer League team. He said, "quote He was out there Euroing, like Euro step, looking like Siakam out there, being aggressive. He's calmed down a little bit. He still has a ways to go." Talking about OMax, he's just talking about how good he looked in that first Summer League practice. But with OMax-Prosper, the thing with him is going to be, can he defend at a high level? The Mavericks, this whole offseason, we've been talking about, how do they replace Derrick Jones Jr.'s defense? We've got an issue with bringing in Klay Thompson. Is his defensive downgrade from Derrick Jones Jr., is that going to be too much of a downgrade for the Mavericks? Where do they find some more versatile defense, switching defense, some more size for the Mavericks? The answer may be coming from inside the house. It may be OMax-Prosper, and that's what we're going to watch in Summer League, is just let's take the first step of that. The first step in the agenda that we can take this summer, the OMax-Prosper agenda, is how does he look in Summer League and how does he look guarding? Because I asked Jared Dudley about how he wants to challenge OMax during Summer League, and he gave a real long answer that we'll go through a little bit later, that I actually want to hear the whole thing because I thought it was such good stuff. But one of the things he said in there is he wants him to guard the best player on the other team, the best perimeter player. And so I asked OMax about that, and I was like, what do you think about that? His answer astounded me. It's exactly what you want to hear. Here he is. One of the things Coach said he wants to challenge you to do is to guard the best perimeter player on the other team. Mm-hmm. How do you take that challenge and how do you approach that?
That's what I want. That's what I want. I mean, that's what I want the toughest challenge. I want to be put in the toughest situations. And, moving forward with the Mavs, that's the challenge I want too. I want to guard the best player on the other end. I want to guard the best players in the world. And that's where I feel like I will make a living. You know, all of us, obviously you want to do also stuff on the offensive end, but that's where I start. That's my base. I love guarding. I love sitting down and being in the stance and guarding, keeping somebody in front of me. So like, that's what I want to do, and I'm excited to do that in Summer League.
That's what I want. I want that. I want the toughest challenge. I want to be put in the toughest situations. That's how I'm going to make my living. OMax-Prosper knows his role and knows what he's going to do in the NBA and knows how his bread is going to be buttered, know how his money is going to be made, however you want to say it. I love guarding. I love sitting down in a stance and guarding, keeping somebody in front of me. That's what I want to do. You got to love that from OMax-Prosper. And I think part of the way to get to a rotation in the Mavericks, a team that just went to the NBA Finals, and I saw a couple people say, well, if OMax, I said maybe potentially OMax could be in the rotation. And I saw a couple of people say, well, if OMax can't crack the rotation in year 2, then isn't it just time to move on from him? Okay, let's hold on for a second. This is not year 2 of the Detroit Pistons or year 2 of whatever the Brooklyn Nets are going to be next season. This is a Mavericks team that just went to the NBA Finals. It is hard for a young player to crack the rotation. Just because Derek Lively did quite literally the impossible last season, breaking into rotation, becoming one of the Mavericks' 3rd or 4th most important players at times in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs as a center, like that should just be a special thing in and of itself and not a standard that we hold an OMax-Prosper to or somebody else. But hearing that mentality from OMax, hearing I want to guard the best players in the world, an incredible quote from OMax. Hearing him know exactly what his role is going to be, what he's going to be known for, what's going to get him on the team, what's going to get him minutes, I think that's the first step. Because in Summer League, you've got a lot of guys. Jared Dudley said this later. He said, you got guys that'll average 24 points a game in Summer League and won't play in the NBA. And you've got guys that'll average 5 points a game that will play in rotations. OMax is closer to that guy that averages 5 and then plays in a rotation. And for him to already know that, to be already in that mindset, is a testament to him, testament to his basketball IQ, but probably also this coaching staff and the front office for setting him up for success. I think we see a lot of guys in the NBA not get set up for success by their teams. And you go, like Bronny James right now. How is Bronny James being set up for success right now for the Lakers? He's now on a team with his dad. The spotlight's going to be on him all the time. Did you see the Awful Announcing post? That Awful Announcing is a publication that posts about like how different organizations cover, how different media outlets cover things. Our friend Brendan Clean of Locked On Suns writes for them. But you see they posted ESPN's front page on the NBA site for them was Bronny for like 24 hours. He scored 4 points in his first Summer League game. How is he being set up for success right now? What is his role going to be on the next level? JJ Redick coming out and being like, he worked for this. He earned this. Okay. How is he being set up for success? OMax is being set up for success right now by Jared Dudley and by the Mavs coaching staff, the Mavs front office, and he's in a good spot. And I think he could crack the rotation next season. I think that Maxey will miss games. He always does. And I think that's a huge opportunity for OMax to jump into the 4 spot. And if the Mavericks need extra point of attack defense, they need extra defenders for bigger bodies, OMax could be that guy. Let's not forget that Derek Jones Jr. played 20 minutes a game to end the season last year when the Mavs went down to their 10-man, 11-man rotation after the trades. Derek Jones Jr. only played 20 minutes. Could OMax play 10 of those? Can he play 15 of those? I mean, can he crack the rotation in that way? Yes, I think he could do that. Could I also see him not playing at all next year? Yes. But I think it starts here for OMax, and I'm excited to see in Summer League what he does with it. How he handles a bigger opportunity. He's the one name on this team that Mavs fans will know. He's not going to have the ball in his hands a bunch. He's not going to be asked to run the offense or anything like that. I think Jared Dudley's setting him up for success because he wants him to make good decisions, guard really well on the perimeter. And coming up, let's hear from Jared Dudley on what he actually wants for OMax and how he's going to challenge him. We'll talk about that and more coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp helps you to work through some of the things in life that you are struggling with. Therapy has helped me tremendously in life. I've used BetterHelp before. I've enjoyed it. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch at any time for no reason too. When I used BetterHelp, I had one therapist the first time, and I talked to them, spent a session, and I just went, I don't think this is working for me with this person. Switched to somebody else at no cost, and it was great. I vibed with that other person a lot better, and therapists understand that. They know that you have to vibe with them in order for you to trust them, in order for you to talk to them, to share some of the deepest, darkest things in your life sometimes. Stop comparing to other people. Stop comparing to every other experience you've had. Start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA.
That's it. It's me versus the machines. The Matrix is taking over. That's it. They want us to be perfect. Basketball isn't perfect. It's beautiful.
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. Appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. We have a daily 24/7 stream covering the Dallas Cowboys, Dallas, the Texas Rangers, all kinds of stuff on the 24/7 stream. Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Sports Dallas on YouTube and Amazon Fire. New show on Locked On Sports today, by the way, is the 6 and 60, which is 6 different stories from the local experts in 60 minutes. So if you want all of your sports stories from the local experts, from people that actually know what the hell they're talking about, the Locked On Mavs will be on that show when Mavs have a big story. 6 and 60 is on Locked On Sports Today. Good stuff. All right, let's get into OMax. I just want to run through a wall for this guy. Every time I hear him talk, just the way that he approaches the game, the way he approaches life, and just like anytime you ask him a question about the NBA and about the experience and about playing in Summer League, he's like, yeah, of course I want to do this. Of course I'm excited. Somebody asked him about the disappointment of the end of last season. He goes, well, you can look at it that way, or you can also look at it like, man, we went to the NBA Finals. And yeah, he didn't get to play that much in that run, but he was just like, man, that was an opportunity. That was an opportunity for all of us to learn, to grow, and the optimism of it, I think, is just something that you gravitate towards. And I understand why a bunch of Mavs fans are really invested in OMax and really want him to be good, because he's just such a contagious personality in the way that he handles life, handles the game, and all that. And Lively is the same way, and Hardy is kind of the same way. And that's 3 Nico Harrison draft picks that are like optimistic, glass half full, happy-go-lucky-ish in a way, but also like serious about their work guys. And I think that's really interesting. And I'm curious too, we didn't get to see Melvin Ajinca as far as like talking to him after practice, but I'm curious to get around him a little bit just to see if he's kind of the same way, because we're 3 for 3 now on Nico Harrison draft picks that are the same kind of personality and way. I kind of love it. Jared Dudley. I asked Jared Dudley, what kind of challenge, how do you want to challenge OMax? Because this whole Summer League is going to be about that. And I think that that's the one translatable thing from this Summer League that could affect the Dallas Mavericks when the season starts is OMax. And can he take a step forward? Can he start his journey into the Mavs rotation? This is what Jared Dudley had to say about it. For OMax, what are you challenging him to do in this Summer League?
That's a great question. I think for OMax, it's you have such a bigger role, but you want to keep it simple. Well, our job here and my job here so far is to show him improvement from year 1 to year 2 to hopefully make him a rotational player. And so by doing that I'm not going to say, hey, OMax, you can do whatever you want, but hey, listen, you're going to be guarding the best wings, so your defense defend without fouling, because that's what this team needs you to have. And we just started Marshall, different guys. Anytime you can have 6-8 guys that can defend multiple, that's you. Offensively, let's make it simple. If you're open, catch and shoot, because 3-pointers with Luka and Kyrie. And if not, redrives. And the big thing about Summer League and not with OMax is when you redrive is your decision making. You have a lob threat, which we have Sharp here. We got someone 7'4" who can athletic as can be. And can you make the corner and wing pass when you drive when they pack the paint? And that's something that OMax has to be able to do at a consistent basis, which he hasn't shown yet.
Yeah. Great stuff. Like, make his role the way that it's going to be on the Mavericks. He even mentioned Luka and Kyrie. When you get those wide open shots, you get those opportunities, take those shots for OMax. But the first thing that Dudley said was hopefully make him a rotational player. That's the thing. That's the one thing for Mavs fans that I think we should focus on, besides just having fun, enjoying watching some Mavs, quote unquote Mavs basketball in Summer League and seeing some of these guys and getting to know new guys and all that. Making OMax a rotational player, giving him the tools and taking him on that first step to becoming a rotational player, I think is super important for this. He said you're going to be guarding the best wings. I think that's important. I'm interested to see if he guards that often. I think because this team and the roster is so guard heavy, it's the way Summer League is a lot of the time. I mean, listed guards of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 guards on this team, and a bunch of wings that are guard size too. So there's a lot of guards, and so I think that's why he's not going to guard all the guards probably, but he's going to be guarding. He wants to guard the best players, and I think Dudley will give him that opportunity, and I think that's awesome. Defense without fouling, very important. Very important Summer League. You get 10 fouls in Summer League. Don't use them all. OMax. Like learn how to defend without fouling. That's super important for the Mavericks, obviously. Important for the next level. And it would be awesome to see OMax dominate defensively in Summer League. So you go, oh my God, he's locking down everybody that goes after him, because that's a good sign that he'll be able to translate that to the NBA. For Summer League, the play, it doesn't always translate 1-to-1. Just because somebody looks awesome in Summer League doesn't mean that they're going to be the best player in the league. It wasn't Denzel Valentine like the MVP of Summer League one year. It's like, okay, I don't know. That really didn't really translate. But just because you're awful in Summer League, Trae Young shot terribly in Summer League. He ended up being a great NBA player. On offense, I think it's important that Jared Dudley said, keep it simple. If you're open, catch and shoot. You're going to get those shots with Luka and Kyrie. That's important. OMax's shot has changed dramatically, I think, just from what I've seen from the beginning when we first saw him at Summer League the first time last year, a year ago, to when I saw him warming up for the NBA Finals. His shot looks a lot better. I'm excited to see it on full display. He shot really well in the G League last year. And I think that his three-point shot, is going to be a big key to him being able to actually play, because can he shoot well in the NBA? I think that's something that is super big for him, a big swing skill if we want to talk about it. He shot 42.5% in the G League on 5 attempts per game. That's pretty good. That's really good. 77% on free throws. That's solid too. He had a good G League year. So his offense. The other thing that I thought was really interesting is he said, if you're not open, redrives. Decision-making. Watching OMax's decision-making. Because with the Mavericks offense, you get those open shots, but then sometimes you got to attack a closeout. And this is why PJ Washington and Derek Jones Jr., the things that they did were so important, because you're like, all right, if they have to redrive, if they have to pull back and then try again, what do they do? How do they make decisions? How do they make it so that something else happens? I was talking about this in the Thunder series, where they were helping off of all these other guys. I was like, all right, the guys that are wide open in the corners, since they're just closing off the corners, the Thunder did not want the Mavericks to shoot any corner threes. Those guys, the PJ Washington and the Derek Jones Jr., had to attack from the corners and couldn't just take those shots because they weren't there. And then I was like, all right, one of the adjustments should be throwing some lobs. And Dudley said that exact thing. You have a lob threat. They've got Sharp. This is 7'5" center I have not seen yet. And I'm interested. Jamarion Sharp. I'm very interested to see him because he is 7'5", and everybody else on this team is 6'8" and shorter. But Sharp from Ole Miss. So I'm curious to see how OMax handles that too. And that's what Jared Dudley said he wants to challenge him to do. And then, if the lob threat isn't there, you have to redrive. Can you make the corner and wing passes when you drive? Can OMax drive and kick? Can he do some of those things? Because if you start throwing all those skills together, then it makes it really hard for you to not play OMax next year on the Mavericks. Hey, we got a couple of these guys that are one-dimensional sometimes. How about a guy that has multiple dimensions to his game that they can put in that could grow into something really great? And yesterday with Reggie, we talked about the end of the roster between Hardy and Exum. And I made the case, all right, I think they should play Hardy instead of Exum because they're investing in their future. How about investing in your future with Maxence-Prosper? Totally another level right with that one. But I thought that was really interesting. I thought Jared Dudley shared some really good insights on OMax. There's a bunch of other stuff. I think they posted it on the Dallas Mavericks YouTube channel. So if you want to go listen to the rest of Jared Dudley, you can listen to it there. OMax did a bunch of other really cool things as well. So go check that out. Coming up, I want to talk about AJ Lawson because I think he has a kind of unique summer league right now. And I'll talk about what everybody said about Melvin Ajinca as well. Talk about that coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds that you can use to get in on the action. You can bet on Summer League. Did you know this? Did you know that? You can bet on Summer League. You can do all kinds of stuff. They have Bronny James props right now. First basket in the regular season for Bronny James. Layup, plus 200. Dunk, plus 900. Three-point field goal, plus 220. Other, plus 340. Free throw, plus 500. What's other besides a layup, a dunk, and a three-point? I guess just like a jumper. That's plus 340. Free throw, plus 500. That seems pretty good. For his first basket, I think I'm going the free throw, the plus 500. It would be insane if it was like the LeBron to the Wade to LeBron, but it was Bron to Bronny. Absolutely insane. There's all kinds of stuff on FanDuel. They've got all kinds of boosts and bonus daily. Go check it out. Head over to FanDuel.com. Start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of Major League Baseball.
Shut it down! Oh, let's go home!
Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. Appreciate each and every one of you. A couple other things from Summer League. I'm interested to see how AJ Lawson handles this Summer League because he's been in the NBA for a little while here. This is now, I think this is going to be year 3 in the NBA, actually. He's been in the G League for a couple years before that. He's one of the older guys on this team. He's not the oldest. He was born in 2000. And there's a guy, Isaiah Whaley, that was born in 98. And that's the oldest guy on the map. Right. All right. Some of you in your 30s, are you prepared for this? The oldest guy on the Mavs Summer League team was born in 98. That's the old guy on the Mavs Summer League team. Do you remember how old you were when you realized that kids were born in 2000? Maybe that's you. Maybe you were born in 2000. But I remember when all of a sudden I was like, oh, the kid's born in 2000? Oh, my gosh. Now those are the older guys in Summer League. But AJ Lawson, I think he's got a very unique Summer League because I think that he has a spot on the Mavs roster, but it doesn't feel like a very solid spot on the Mavs roster. He got a contract, got a multiple year deal from the Dallas Mavericks, but it's not guaranteed, all of it. And so the Mavs could, if they get both the Morris brothers back, they could waive him. They could waive him if they want Markieff to come back because of his veteran leadership, but they want Dennis Smith Jr., they want Spencer Dinwiddie, so they would have to waive AJ Lawson. And so AJ Lawson now has this. Is it an opportunity or is it just like a ticking time bomb for him to like show something? Because I don't know how much he showed. And Jared Dudley was asked about him. And I think his answer was like a little revealing. Dudley said, someone asked Jared Dudley, what kind of skills does AJ Lawson need to show in Summer League to prove that he should, still be on the Mavericks, get a role, etc. And Jared Dudley said, it's not really about the skills. It's about how tough are you. He's thinly built, extremely athletic, streaky shooter. He said, not a good shooter, but a streaky shooter. I was like, oh. Then he said, can you guard NBA guards? Can we put you onto Tatum and Holiday? Those are the ones you're looking forward to find on the roster spot. Now, are you going to take the step up? Are you out in transition? Are you shooting wild shots instead of shooting, actually taking your time or kicking it back out, making the right decision? So not only with him, but with everyone making decisions, how tough are you? Then anytime you can hit a shot, especially when you're open, it adds to your value. I'm doing the Rodney Dangerfield like, ugh. To me, I'm interested to see how much AJ Lawson actually does in Summer League and what his role is going to be and like how long he's going to be on the Mavericks. And if he shows something in Summer League, does that change anything? Because we're a couple years into this AJ Lawson thing, and I don't know that he's shown to be an end of the bench guy. And the Mavs could have options that are better options than him: a Dinwiddie, a Dennis Smith Jr., a Marcus Morris, and a Markieff Morris. They have one roster spot open, and they have AJ Lawson that has a non-guaranteed deal. So what does he do in Summer League? Is it just useless? Does AJ Lawson can he show anything in Summer League that could keep him on the roster? I'm interested in that. And I could be reading into this wrong and he stays on the roster and he starts the season with the Mavericks and everything's good and great. But to me, it's a very clear and obvious, all right, if we want to bring another veteran or somebody else in or somebody else with a skill set that fixes it for us. Because this was not like a ringing endorsement to me from Jared Dudley. How tough are you? Streaky shooter, not a great shooter. Anytime you can hit a shot, it adds to your value. Oof. Decision making, kicking it back out, taking your time, all that. And we're not talking about an OMax that the Mavs have, invested a lot in. We're talking about AJ Lawson, who's going to be 24 on July 15th when the Mavericks start playing Summer League. So he'll have a birthday there in Vegas. He's going to be 24. He's been in the NBA a couple years now. He's with the Timberwolves. Before he was with the Mavericks. He was in the G League for a little while. Like you're talking about a guy that has been around for a little bit. And so I'm curious. He got the contract, but does he stay on the Mavs roster? Is there anything he can do in Summer League to prove to them that he deserves to stay on the roster? That's where I'm at with AJ Lawson. And I don't have any answers, and I don't have any opinions on it really, which is not a good thing for a podcast. But that's what I'm looking at with him. I'm looking at him with like keeping one eye open. Melvin Ajinca on the Mavs Summer League roster is listed as Melvin Ajinca. That's how it says it's supposed to be pronounced. John. In the middle. It's really throwing me off because Jared Dudley said Ajinca, and we said Olivier Ajinca for what I thought was his brother, or I thought was his cousin. It's actually his brother. Jared Dudley said his brother. So I'm really not sure what to do with that part of it. What to do with that part of it. But I do know that he was there. He's going to play in Summer League. I'm fascinated to see him play because Jared Dudley said some really cool stuff about him. He said he's 6'8", he's bigger and is taller than you think he is. He's taller than me, Jared Dudley said. Jared Dudley listed his NBA height was 6'7", 6'6". He said he's a smooth lefty. He can handle, make decisions. And Jared Dudley said this that I find very interesting because I did not see this in any of the clips or any of the scouting reports or any of the people that I read about that had actually watched Melvin Ajinca. Jared Dudley said this. I could see him doing a little point forward here. Did not really see that coming because to me, he just seemed like a 3-and-D, got a good looking shot, should be able to defend, 6'8" with like a 6'8" wingspan. So not a plus wingspan, but not a negative one. But a little point forward is interesting. His decision making, his handle, his ability to pass, calling him a smooth lefty, all that kind of stuff. I'm interested to see how that works because that is not what I expected from him. And so that's something to definitely watch in Summer League. Does he show a little more playmaking chops than we thought? Is he a little better with the ball than we thought? Because if you're AJ Lawson and you Melvin Ajinca is out there looking better than you, that's where you get concerned. Hey, I got a non-guaranteed spot on this roster. Markieff Morris is convinced that he's coming back because he's tweeting about it. And they've got this guy they just drafted who may come over, may not. I'm not 100% sure on that. They didn't comment on that today. But that's a guy that the Mavs could bring in, and maybe he helps them in a way, or maybe he's the development piece that they want. He could go back and forth in the G League. There's definitely two-way spots open for him if that's something that he wants to do. If he does decide to come over, he could stay over in Europe, though, a draft and stash type guy. So he stays over there, and then maybe next year he decides to come over when a roster spot is available for him. But playing a little point forward is not something I expected from Melvin Ajinca, and I'm interested to see how that really plays out. That's Summer League. That's what I think about the Mavs Summer League team. That's what I think about OMax. Let me know how many walls you'd run through for OMax after that quote because it just was awesome to me. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.